Hi, everyone. Welcome. Ooh, okay. We have a lot of people in here. Let me share my screen, full screen mode, and get the chat up. Hi, how is everyone? So we have people trickling in. Yeah, we have almost 100 people in here right now. Awesome. We're at 100. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me okay. If you ever can't hear me or I'm talking too fast or whatever, definitely put it in the chat, but welcome. So we already have some Q&A. Okay, so hi everyone. Oh, the chat is disabled just in case that's not intentional. Oh, that is not intentional, actually. Interesting. Let's see. I can enable it. It might be too late to enable. That is not supposed to happen. Give me 1 second. I will try to enable the chat. Okay, here we go. Everyone. All right, please try to chat now. Attendees can chat with everyone. Okay, try to chat now so I can see if it's working, please. Okay, awesome. Yay. Hi, everyone. Oh my God. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, yes, this is what I'm talking about. All right. So let us, first of all, let's rep our cities. Where's everybody calling in from? Put in the chat city, state. Yes, Philly, Dallas, DC, Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit. Oh my God, Germany. Detroit, London. Okay, we international up in here. Yes, I love this. I love this. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. All right, Brooklyn. I'm also in Brooklyn. Nice. This is awesome. I love this. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it like 2 more minutes. Actually, 1 more minute. We're going to start right at 6:05. But yes, we got a lot of Brooklyn nights in here. I love this. Okay. Miami in the house. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being a part of this. Thank you all for spending your Thursday night with me to learn and to really grow in your careers. This already speaks to how serious you all are about your careers, about breaking into tech or getting your next tech role during September Surge. So thank you all so much for being a part of this and joining me. If you all see me looking here, I have my notes. So that's why. And yeah, we can kind of get started in just a second. All right, cool. I think we can get started. So first of all, I want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is ALLIE Joy. I'm the founder and executive director at Baddies in Tech. Just a quick overview of what Baddies in Tech is. We are a professional development and membership network for Black and Brown women in tech. I'm sure a lot of you are in the network, have attended our events, are in our Discord, or even went to our inaugural conference in Brooklyn last month. So Baddies in Tech is really built to be a safe space and to be a place where Black and Brown women can come and find resources, find network, find mentors, to really start and grow their careers in the tech industry. And we have a lot planned and coming up for you all for this next quarter as well as for 2024. Yes, love that Marissa says that it was her first tech conference and she loved it. Yes, it was honestly a great time and I can't wait for next year's conference. So if you didn't make it to this year, definitely start planning now for next August because we're going to be doing it again. We're going to be running it back. But yeah, so I'm ALLIE Joy. I'm also a career coach and a tech recruiter. And I've been a tech recruiter for the past 2 years, so 2.5 years. And actually, I just transitioned out of that full-time role, and now I do Baddies in Tech full-time. But I was a tech recruiter specifically with a diversity and inclusion lens for the past 2 years, since June 2021, and then I left that role in June 2023. So I have a lot of insight. I have a lot of experience in that space. And I'm excited to share that with you all. But prior to that, I've kind of just been a resume slayer my entire career. And that's kind of how I transitioned into tech myself. So a little bit of background on me and my journey. I don't have a technical background. I actually graduated from Syracuse University. If there's any orange men in this call, please drop it in the chat, drop an orange in the chat if there's any Syracuse alum here. But I went to Syracuse and I graduated in 2018, okay, orange, with a BS in biology. And okay, I love to see the orange. And I decided that I was not gonna become a doctor like my African parents wanted me to. And so I decided that I would transition into tech instead. And while I was still undergrad, from my sophomore year to my senior year, I actually worked in the emergency department. So I was working in the emergency department as a medical scribe, and I would essentially go see patients with the doctor or the PA or the nurse practitioner, and I would complete their patient documentation on a piece of technology called the electronic medical record. So I became a subject matter expert in EMRs. And when I graduated, decided that I wasn't going to become a doctor, I was kind of looking at my background and saying, okay, what kind of experience do I have? And I decided that I would leverage my subject matter expertise in EMRs to transition into tech. So I ended up being able to leverage that experience. And mind you, this is like part-time experience, right? I was still in school. So I was working part-time in the emergency department. So this was part-time experience that I was able to play up my subject matter expertise in EMRs, as well as just my customer service, my client success experience working with doctors, right? And being able to really like build relationships. And I was able to leverage that to transition into my first tech role, which was as a technical implementation consultant at an AI health tech startup. And so that's where my tech career really started and where I started my whole journey. And because it was a startup, I was able to kind of really leverage that to start my entrepreneurship journey as well. I started Baddies in Tech while in that first role because I was the only Black person at that company. And I was also the only Black person, only Black woman. I was the youngest person there. And I was really looking for mentors and a community and sponsors, and I didn't find that internally. Thank you, Shara. So Shara is going to be helping me out with any links and things like that. She's on the Baddies in Tech team, so appreciate you, Shara. But yeah, so I was able to leverage. I was the only there, and so that's where kind of Baddies in Tech was born, and why I started this community. And I didn't start it with the intention of building this organization or a business out of it. It was, again, really for myself. But it turned out that a lot of other Black women, brown women related to my experience, and it turned out that this was like a systemic issue, right, in the tech industry. And so it kind of grew into what it is today over time. But with that, I actually left that first job, a year into it. You'll notice something about me is that I really can't stay in jobs. After like a year, 2 years, I start itching to do something else. And it really is just like the entrepreneur in me. And so I've just accepted that like I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur and like let's just put my all into it. But yeah, so I left that after 1 year, went to Ghana. Actually, again, I'm African, I'm from Ghana originally. And I was building tech startups in Ghana in a year-long tech entrepreneurship program. And that was really where I got my tech experience, my education in technology. And I was able to, because I was building startups from the ground up, I was really able to see all the inputs that go into building successful tech firms, from marketing to sales to the actual product development, to recruiting and all of that. At the same time, about a year after that, George Floyd was murdered and the entire United States was in an uproar. And because Baddies in Tech was, growing on social media, employers started reaching out looking for talent, right? Everybody was like, well, we need to diversify our talent. And so employers started reaching out, and I started connecting women in our community to employers and started getting people jobs that way. And that was kind of where my tech recruiting experience came in. And so when I decided I would come back to the United States, I was like, all right, I need a job. And so I leveraged that experience, that informal experience, really recruiting through my community. And I leveraged that to get a job, right, an official title as a tech recruiter at ZocDoc. And so I was doing that for 2 years. And then, like I already said, recently transitioned out of that role. So I say all this to say that you can leverage the experience that you already have, even if it's part-time experience, even if it's an informal experience, you can leverage that to get a higher paying, more flexible role in the tech industry. You don't need to necessarily go to a boot camp or, build a whole new skill set. Like, you already have the skills that you need in order to actually get a higher paying 6-figure role in tech. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're first going to overview the tech industry. We're going to look at all the kind of inputs, like I was saying, that go into building a successful tech firm. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the roles that you could potentially transition into. I have a resource for that we'll talk about at the end that you'll be able to get your hands on. The second thing that we'll talk about is really the number one thing that you can do to supercharge your job search, which is tailoring your resume. And then the third thing that we're going to do is actually do a little bit of that resume tailoring. I'll kind of show you, I've already done it, and I'll show you what it looks like and what the steps are, and how you can actually go about doing it, and kind of like the impact of it. So yeah, let's jump into it. How are we all feeling? Do I still have everyone? I talked a little bit. So before we jump into this, I'd like to know, if you can put in the chat, I'd like to know where you are currently at in your job search. So what's your current role or industry, and what are you looking to transition into? Okay, good, cool. Internships, quality, okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so it looks like actually a lot of people are already, okay. This is interesting. So a lot of people are already in tech and looking to get a better resume to get a new role. That's awesome. And then some people are in a different industry and looking to transition into tech. Cool. All right, awesome. Okay, so then this is going to be really good. So a lot of this is framed as, you're in a different industry and you're trying to leverage that background to transition into tech. But the meat and potatoes, what I'm talking about, tailoring your resume and how to really put your best foot forward, is going to be relevant to everyone. So let's jump into all of this, and then we can, if there's any questions or anything like that, we can kind of address them afterwards. Yes, absolutely, you all will have access to the recording. And I was just looking to make sure we are recording. I believe that we are. Yes, we are. Okay. Yeah, so we're recording and you will get access to it afterwards. HR transitioning to PMP. Okay, awesome. All right, we have a lot of different things going on here. So let's jump into all of this. So like I was saying earlier, there's more than just product development roles in tech, right? I meet a lot of people who are like, I want to transition into tech, and I'm like, cool, what do you want to transition into? They're like, I want to be a UX designer, or I want to be a software engineer. And they're like, and I'm like, okay, well, what do you do right now? And they're like, well, I'm a teacher. And it's like, okay, well, do you hate teaching? Did you just not like to teach at all? And you just now want to be a UX designer? Or do you just think that tech is just UX design or software engineering, and so you're not really aware of the other things that you can do in tech? And a lot of the times people are not aware of the other things that you can do in tech. So I wanted to share that, you know, there's so many other different things that you can do in tech, including HR and recruiting, including business intelligence and operations, which is where some of our like data analysts roles fall under, legal and finance, sales and marketing, product development, cybersecurity, and so much more. So if you are, for example, wanting to transition into HR and recruiting, like a payroll admin or HR BP, HR business partner, or even learning and development roles are a good path to take. And I have a resource called my value drivers chart that really lists out like all of these kind of functions and then job titles underneath it. And so you'll have access, or you'll have an opportunity to get access to that at the end, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, so then other kind of functions in the tech industry, including business intelligence, like I said, data analysis is a well-known role under that. Legal and finance, you can think of financial analysts, you can think of trust and safety analysts, sales and marketing. Of course, we have our sales development representatives, our account executives, product development. That's the one that we all know about and love, right? Our software engineers, our product managers, our UX designers, and then of course, cybersecurity. So the good news about this is that, you know, again, you can really leverage the background that you already have to transition into one of these functions. And these functions are all important in the tech industry, right? Like imagine a tech firm that only had software engineers. They would build an amazing product, you know, it would be great, it would have all the bells and whistles, but then in the market, they don't have anyone to sell it. They don't have anyone to market it. They would fail and they would have to shut down. So I just want everyone to know that all of these other functions are just as important as our product development function. And so if you are looking to transition into tech, it's a good idea to look at some of these other lanes to see what fits with you, what you're interested in, and what you can leverage in your background to transition into one of these lanes. So another thing that I see a lot of people doing when they're job hunting and looking to transition into tech or transition into another role is rage applying. So a lot of people have one, yes, tech sales is hot. A lot of people have one title or one resume, and then they're utilizing that to transition into multiple job titles or to apply to multiple job titles. So they're submitting the same exact resume to multiple job titles, and then they're not getting calls back. And they're kind of wondering, like, why am I not getting calls back? And the reason that they're not getting calls back is because the recruiter has to like take time to guess what you're actually good at, because your resume isn't optimized for any one of any one role. So yeah, so if you're like applying to 500 roles and they're all different titles and you're utilizing the same resume, you're gonna have a hard time landing interviews, because the recruiter has to like spend extra time on your resume trying to figure out what it is you're actually good at, versus you submitting a resume that's optimized and that tells them right away, this is what I'm good at, this is what I can do for you, I'm the person that you're looking for, right? So yeah, the thing with all of this is that recruiters are spending 6 seconds max looking at your resume, right? At least on the first pass. And so you want to make sure that your resume from jump appears like you're the right person for this role. And so to do that, you want to tailor your resume. So your resume should scream, I am a whatever the title is, right? It should be tailored to that one role, and it should include key skills that are important to be successful in that role. These recruiters are looking for keywords. They're looking at it very quickly, and so it should jump out at them right away. And so if you do tailor your resume successfully, what you'll find is that you can apply to less roles. You can say no to the roles that are not a good fit for you, and you will increase your application to interview success rate. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So what is the application to interview success rate? I don't know if you all ever have seen on LinkedIn. Have you all put a 1 in the chat if you've seen on LinkedIn those posts where people are like, I've applied to 500 roles and I haven't gotten any interviews. I'm about to give up. And those posts are really sad, right? Like, job hunting is another job in itself, right? And it takes a toll. And yeah, Twitter too. Yeah, it takes a toll on you. And so people are really on the verge of giving up. And I think at this point it's become normalized, right? That like you have to apply to hundreds and hundreds of roles for you to get a job interview. And that really isn't right. Like it's not normal. You should not have to apply to 500 jobs to get 5 interviews. If you're doing that, that means your success rate, your application to interview success rate is only at 0.1%. And that's way below what it should be. Right? Yeah, who has time to apply to 500 roles? Yeah, no, you should not have to apply to 500 roles to get 5 interviews. Your success rate, the average success rate should be at least 10%. So that means if you're applying to 100 jobs, you should be getting at least 10 interviews from those jobs. For me and for my clients, when I apply to jobs, I'm at a 20 to 30% success rate, right? And so it's not taking me that many applications to actually land a job because I have more interviews from that role or from those smaller, right? Like a smaller group of applications. So I want you all to get to at least a 10% success rate. And you do that by optimizing and tailoring your resume. So how do you tailor your resume, right? We'll get into that. But like I said, and like a lot of people have said on LinkedIn, job hunting is a numbers game. But it's not a numbers game in which like, let's just apply to as many jobs as we can and like see what sticks. It's like, no, you need to actually tailor your resume and be able to apply to less roles, but with a higher success rate so that you can get more interviews and then eventually land a role. Does this apply to the current job market? It certainly does. Yes, 100%. So basically, we're going to go through what resumes look like, what most resumes look like, and then we're going to compare it to what a tailored resume looks like. So this is actually one of my clients' resumes. This is her resume before we worked on it together when she came to me. So essentially, most resumes have either a long paragraph as their at the beginning, right? Like either a summary or they have like their skill section at the top. Putting a long paragraph, again, recruiters are looking at your resume for 6 seconds. Nobody's reading a paragraph. So scrap that, take that out. We don't want that, right? Nobody's reading that. I've been looking at resumes for 2 years and I've never read a summary section ever in full. So I'd like people to not do that. And I'll show you a better way to kind of summarize who you are on your resume in my resume template. So either people are doing that or they're putting their skills section at the top. This is not the worst thing. However, I prefer skills section at the bottom because listing these keywords doesn't tell you much when it's out of context, right? Sales, writing, editing, executive assistant, like these are all just a bunch of words. It doesn't tell me anything. Um, I'll talk more about the summary section. Just don't put it in a paragraph because no one's reading it. But yeah, so no, all of these words are kind of just there, and I don't know what it means in context. So putting the skills section at the top doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the recruiter understand what you're doing. I much prefer a skills section at the bottom that I can look to after I've read the experience section, which is the most important part, right? So a lot of people place their work experiences and they list everything that they've done instead of really curating and highlighting relevant aspects for the job that they're trying to get. So, you know, in this resume, she in this past experience has been like an events coordinator, as well as she's done like marketing, like event marketing coordination. So she's kind of mixed and jumbled these things into this work experience, right? You'll see like she has been like, she's done like mailing preparation, financial reporting. She's executed letters like what are they called? Like donation letters. She's also helped with like making sure that like guests come to the event. She's helped with like grant letters, and that's helped generate 3 million in donations. So she's done a lot of these different things, but just looking at the resume, you can't really tell what it is that she's saying that she's good at. She's just kind of listed the things that she's done. And it's a little confusing, right? And then when you look at her other experiences, you can tell that she's kind of generally like a marketing person, like a web marketer or a content marketer. You'll also see that her bullet points some of her bullet points list duties instead of achievements. So I was actually decently impressed when I saw her resume because a lot of her bullet points do include like accomplishments and include relevant numbers and things like that, which is what you want. But some of them included or were just kind of like her duties, like hosted meetings with clients versus, you know, what she actually achieved. So you'll want to more so do accomplishments and what you've achieved versus listing your duties. You never want to list your duties in your resume. Your resume is supposed to kind of put you forward as an accomplished individual, as someone who's brought value to your previous employer. And then the last thing is that she has her education section, and that's great, but the education section doesn't include any relevant coursework or awards. It's just kind of like, okay, I graduated with a degree in journalism. So it's not really supplementing, it's not helping, it's not really helping her in any way. So this is what her resume looked like after I worked on it. This resume is it's really optimized for one role, right? It's optimized and it places her as an event manager, which is the role that she's looking to go for. So my resume template, and I call it my Glow Baddie Resume Template, this is the method that I use that really puts people's accomplishments first, makes you glow, makes you really stand out as the candidate for the role. And so I'm going to go through each part of this resume and we'll kind of talk about why it's better, why it makes you stand out, etc. So the first part of this resume is like right at the top where we're placing the title that we're going for right at the top, right? Event manager. You want to be an event manager, put on your resume that you're an event manager. Tell the recruiter that you're an event manager. Tell the whole world that you're an event manager. It's the same thing as like on your LinkedIn when people are like, don't put aspiring software engineer, right? Just put software engineer. Like if you're aspiring to a role, just put that you are that role. And then in the rest of your resume, put the things that will convince somebody that you are that role, right? This resume is 2 pages. And I will say something about that. I don't care if your resume is 2 pages. I care if your resume is 3 pages, but if your resume is like a page and a half, 2 pages, it's okay, because at the end of the day, people are gonna look at it's a PDF, right? You just scroll on any PDF, like your people are gonna look at it. What I will say though is that try to keep the most important and most relevant information on the first page. So again, having the job title on the first page, having your most relevant experience on the first page, etc. Try to keep the most important information that's going to capture someone's attention in the first couple seconds on the first page. But if your resume is more than 1 page, it doesn't hurt anybody. Nobody's going to die. It's okay. I would rather you spread things out and like have it be legible and readable versus trying to cram everything into 1 page, right? Cool. Let me just look at some of these questions and comments. Yes, the template. I have y'all will be able to purchase the template at the end. I have a bundle for you. But yes, okay, cool. So let's keep going through this template and why it makes sense. So event manager, and then this is actually your summary section. So what I was saying earlier about not having a paragraph summary section. Again, nobody is reading a cover letter on a resume. Why are you putting a cover letter on your resume? Don't do that. We're not reading it. So this is a better way for you to actually present your summary, a summary of who you are, a summary of what you've done on your resume. So it's a skills and achievements focused summary. And each line actually has a purpose and does different things. So the first line is actually a reiteration of the desired title. It's saying that, yes, I'm an events manager, but I also know that the industry calls events managers experience leads and event producers and event coordinators, and I'm okay with any of these titles. So if I'm applying to an event manager role or an event coordinator role, I can still submit this resume, right? And people will know that I understand the industry, but also that I'm okay with that title, right? As my next role. So that's the first line. The second line is all about the key skills that make you a good event manager, right? So event marketing, budget management, vendor procurement, contracts negotiation. These are all key skills that an event manager needs to have. And you're putting that right at the forefront. Like, I know how to do this. I've done this. I know how to do this. And mind you, all of these things are actually also found throughout the bullet points. And so it's not like you're just putting it there as a keyword, because again, yes, you need the keywords, but someone's going to actually end up reading your resume and it needs to make sense in context. The third line is achievements or accomplishments that you've done as an event producer. So you can just they're just call outs, right? So, you've executed event marketing campaigns, you've increased brand awareness, you've drove event attendance. And again, all of these things, like if you actually read the resume, you read her bullet points, all of these things are found in the bullet points, but you're just this is a snapshot. You're just calling them out at the beginning. So like when someone looks at this resume from jump, they're like, this person's an event manager. Like this person knows what they're talking about. This person can negotiate contracts. This person knows how to build relationship with vendors. This person knows how to make sure that our events are being attended, right? So from just like that first quarter of the first page, a recruiter is like, ding, 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 this is the person I'm looking for, right? Yeah, it definitely is a game changer. Like, because again, who's reading a paragraph for your summary? Like, if I see a summary like that, I'm skipping right to it and going to your work experience to see what I can find in terms of keywords. So having a summary that is full of keywords and is full of call outs about what an event manager or whatever this title that you have here does is going to be a game changer for you. Okay. Okay, so the second line was key skills. Key skills that pertain to whatever the first line and the title is. So key skills that an event manager needs to have. And you'll kind of you'll get this as we keep going, because I'm gonna show you all a job description and kind of how this is tailored to it. Okay, so then, oh, you guys are so cute, of course. Okay, so accomplishments, focus bullet points. So that's the third thing, right? Your bullet points should be accomplishment focused, achievement focused, and they should include strong action verbs and numbers, and figures. So you'll see in here, planned, coordinated, executed, partnered, efficiently executed, built, tracked, executed, instrumental, liaised, coordinated, led, partnered, assisted, prepared, coordinated. Literally every single bullet point has a strong action verb, and almost every single one, if not every single one, has a number or a figure that tells the recruiter who's reading this resume what impact this person had on the organization they were just at, they are currently at, or they just left, right? So that's what you want to do with your bullet points. You want to make sure that every single bullet point really communicates what you did, right? What action that you took and what result you got for your employer, for your client, or whoever it is that you're representing in this scenario of your work experience. So that is honestly, the biggest thing on your resume is your bullet points, and making sure that your bullet points are action and accomplishment driven. The fourth thing on here is including, so this is unique to my resume template and my method, same as how putting this title here and like my summary section is unique to my method. But having a one-liner description of the company is actually going to help you, right? Because a lot of companies, unless like you've been working for like a FANG or a really well-known company like Walmart, Pepsi, whatever, people don't know what your company is or what it does. And so if I know what your company is as a recruiter, what it does, then I'm able to say, okay, this person has relevant experience. So like if we're looking back at this one, for example, she wants to be an event manager. Her next role she wants an event manager title as her next role. If she was to like get rid of this like nonprofit and corporate events management consultancy, and then all she had was RAM fundraising consultancy, like I don't know what that is. I don't know that it's a consultancy that puts on events and like nonprofit galas and fundraisers for the purpose of like raising funds, right? So if you put this here now, automatically when a recruiter is reading this, they're like, okay, cool, this person has worked somewhere that literally produces corporate events. Like I'm looking for someone that produces corporate events. Perfect. Like this person has that experience. So yeah, still put the one-liner if you're going into a different field, because like for example down here she has the one-liner Black news and entertainment media company. She has the one-liner for everyone, because again, like people don't know what your company does. So if you put it there, it's just going to be helpful information for a recruiter. And again, like you're gonna interview with these people, right? So if you have this on your resume, a lot of times when you're interviewing, they have the resume in front of them. You have more context to give them. You're like, okay, I was working at Amsterdam News. It was a Black news and entertainment media company. And so you'll also see in the job description that I'm going to share that I use to tailor this, they ask for like someone who cares about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So like, cool. Now like this person has worked at a Black news and entertainment media company. She's the last bullet point on that experience is managed the Black New Yorker of the Week column, covering social justice, diversity and inclusion, and systemic change issues. Now you can speak to that. So it is helpful even if you are transitioning. I will send you all a link to access the template, to purchase the template at the end. Cool. So the last point, I believe that's the last one. The last point on here is in the education section, you only need your graduation year. You don't need to put when you started. So like if you maybe are self-conscious, like you spent 5 years in college instead of 4 years, it's really okay to put just your graduation year. And then under this as well, she had won a prize for journalism. And so just including either relevant coursework, some of us are old, including either relevant coursework or awards that you've won, it'll just make you stand out more. It'll just make you look like a high achiever. It'll make you look like, you know, someone who gets shit done. So could you not put the year at all? Okay, let me think about this one. So I think if you have enough experience, it's okay to not put the year. I would recommend putting the year, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. But I will say if you are like just graduating from college, you should put the year, like if you're looking for internships and things like that, because a lot of internships like are year dependent, right? Like if you're graduating in 2026, maybe like you can't, some internships you can't get, like you literally just can't get. And so I would say do that, but let me think about that, and then I'll follow up in an email to you all about that question, because I haven't. Yeah, I don't think it's the biggest deal, right? I think if like you do all these other things, you look like a great candidate, like no one's gonna stop and be like, dang, like she didn't put her year, like I'm not gonna call her, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's the biggest deal if it's something that like you think is hindering you from getting a role. And if it's not the other things, right? Like if like your resume is like on point and then it's like the year that you graduated and like you feel like you being of a certain age is hindering you, then I would leave it off. But if it's like the other things, like you haven't done all of these things that I'm telling you and you're like, you think it's the year, it's probably not the year. If that makes sense. Okay, cool. So some people have removed them. There's Jasmine. How did that work out for you? Do you think? And give me 1 second, guys. It's cold in my room. I'm like shivering. It's making my voice break. So I'm gonna turn off the AC. Okay. Can you elaborate on the skills first section compared to skills? Okay. Yes. Yes, that's what I was getting into. Let me see. Okay, yes. So skills section at the bottom that supports whatever is in the bullet points. So again, think about your LinkedIn, right? Like your LinkedIn is set up with like your experience sections first, and then like the skills and keywords section at the bottom. It's like when I'm looking, when recruiters are looking for candidates, either through a resume or like submitted resumes or through like LinkedIn, they're going to the work experience section first and like looking for the keywords, looking for, you know, what the experience looks like, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're going to the skills section if they didn't find something that they were looking for, right? Like if in the bullet points, like this person didn't include that they are good at Google Ads or Splash in the actual bullet points, and they're like, this is something that I'm actually looking for in a candidate, then like they will go to the skills section and kind of look for that. So skills section is good to kind of put the rest of the things that you may not have been able to fit in your bullet points, and put the things that you have put in your bullet points here as a reiteration. But putting it at the beginning, it's just not it's not what holds the most weight for recruiters, because it's like you could just put whatever you want in there, you know what I mean? Like anyone can put anything in their skills section. But if you put it at the end, then it's like, all right, I already read that you know how to do run of shows, like that's in here, right? Where is it? It's in here somewhere. I have it on the other slide highlighted, but like I already know that you know how to do run of shows, right? Okay, it's right here, run of shows, floor plans, etc. Like I already know that you know how to do that because you put it in your bullet points, and now it's also in your skill section. And so it's just kind of a reiteration and like a verification versus that being what you lead with, because that doesn't really tell me anything. Like I can put whatever I want in there. So how do we feel about Canva resumes? We don't like Canva resumes. Don't do them. Just don't do it. Just get a plain text resume that communicates the information. Nobody cares unless it's like a design role. And even that, I just want to like know what you can do. And then like send me your portfolio so I can see like your design skills, right? But like, yeah, stop, Kyla. Backtrack, stop doing it. Yeah, because a lot of the time, so okay, so let's talk about ATS. And let me just make sure. Okay, so 42 minutes, just making sure where I'm at on time. Let's talk about ATS. So ATS is, and I know you all hear this a lot, this is why I want to talk about it. I don't understand that question, sorry. But ATS. Okay, so ATS stands for Applicant Tracking System. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a CRM really for recruiters to track the applicants, the candidates that come through their recruiting funnel, and to move them along the recruiting funnel. So I can, a lot of people come in, they apply, maybe 100 people, maybe I interview 50, maybe I move 15 along, maybe 15 pass, like right down and down the funnel. So it's literally a way for you to keep track of your candidates. I feel like the world and the recruiting industry, or the resume tailoring industry, or people who sell resume things, they've made it, the ATS, sound like it's the robots, and like the ATS is actually just a system for tracking candidates. The robot part may or may not exist. I have never seen it, but I've only used one or two ATSs. There's hundreds of ATSs out there. But the one that I use, Greenhouse, is one of the biggest ATSs that a lot of companies use. So with Greenhouse, there's no like keyword AI. There's no like AI that kind of like you filter a resume through, and then like it either like pushes someone forward or doesn't push someone forward based on keywords in the resume. There might be an ATS that does that, that includes that. I don't know of one, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist. What I'm saying is that recruiters are looking at resumes at 6 seconds per resume. And so if you are getting auto rejects, it's because your resume is not optimized for the keywords that a recruiter is looking at. And 6 seconds can seem so quick that like it seems like an AI or a robot is like actually looking at your resume, but a lot of the times it's actually recruiters going through it very quickly and rejecting based on the fact that it's not optimized. So so yeah, I just want to say that so that you all realize that like you're not doing this, you're not throwing keywords to beat a robot. Like focus on getting in good graces with the recruiter and then getting in good graces with the hiring manager. So you want to focus on those kind of two groups of people, and like having your keywords in there so that the recruiter is like, cool, let me move this person forward, but also having them in context and in sentences that make sense, so that when a hiring manager reads it, it's like, cool, this person knows what they're talking about. Yeah, so in that sense, I started talking about that because we were talking about the formatting of resumes and Canva and all of that. The when you submit a resume to like an ATS, to a job board on a job description on a job board, it's going to go through the ATS. Again, it's a CRM, right? And so it comes up as a PDF. And so you just want to submit it as a PDF so that you can like people can actually read it. You don't want to submit it as a Word document or like a text document, et cetera, because it might get messed up in that sense. But at the end of the day, like real people are reading your resume is what I want to say. It just might seem like people are throwing out your resume really quickly because they are, to be very honest. And so again, this is why I'm teaching you all how to immediately grab the attention of a recruiter and say, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. Let me move them to the next segment in my funnel, take a closer look and call them for an interview. Okay, so let's look at tailoring our resumes. Tailoring our resumes. So this is, did I answer who's current? Good question. Current. Okay, do you recommend using a Word doc or PDF? PDF always. PDF always. Word can kind of like get jumbled up. PDF is like it's stuck the way you downloaded it, right? So you download it, it looks like this, it's gonna look like that no matter where you submit it. Yeah, exactly. Word can format really weird. Okay, awesome. All right, so this is the role actually that I utilized primarily to tailor Faith's resume. I used mainly this one, and then once I was done tailoring it, for the most part, I went and looked at some other roles, and I included some other things that I wanted to put in there that I wanted to highlight. So yeah, so I'm showing you all this one because you can see, and I've highlighted it in a way where you can see exactly from the job description where I have in her resume the things that they're asking for in the job description. I also want to highlight the fact that this is an events experience lead at ServiceNow. So Faith has been an events coordinator at REM Fundraising Consultancy. She has events experience. She's done events even in her past experiences and her volunteer experiences. And now she wants to get into tech, and she wants to do it in a way where she can make more money and she can have more flexibility in her life. And so this role really lends itself to that because she's able to do events and experience at a tech company making $94,000 at the minimum to over 6 figures. And so I just, again, want to reiterate the fact that you can take the experience that you already have and tailor it in a way that will allow you to do exactly what you're already doing at a tech company. So yeah, so this job description this job description is for events experience lead at ServiceNow. And you'll see that throughout the resume, I have exactly what is asked for from the job description in her resume. And I changed up the wording and tailored her bullet points so that they would kind of match it. But none of the stuff that is in here is made up. These are all things that are actually taken from her old resume, and it's just formatted and worded in ways that kind of match and highlight that she has the experience that they're asking for. So the main things that are being asked for in this job description are being able to collaborate with stakeholders to identify, plan, and execute events, right? So again, they want an events manager. They want somebody that can collaborate with everybody else at the company and execute some events. So you'll see in her bullet points, right, I have partnered cross-functionally with internal stakeholders and external clients to ensure alignment on event vision and goals, and oversaw the end-to-end management of logistics. Now, you'll see like this bluish purple color right in here, align with company's values and objectives. align on event vision and goals. Objectives, vision, and goals. Same difference, right? End-to-end management of logistics for 17 plus events. This person knows how to run events. She's done 17 plus events. She knows how to manage from beginning to end the events, right? So that she knows how to run the on-site logistics, catering, transportation, event setup and breakdown, etc. That's end to end. Down here as well, expertise in all stages of event management process from site selection to execution, end to end. Other places in which they've asked for partnering, right? Partner with internal stakeholders, partnered with internal stakeholders. And like, let's even leave this work experience in one, right? Even here, I've made sure that I put it partnered cross-functionally on marketing, right? This person knows how to partner. This person knows how to collaborate. And so you essentially, what I'm doing with this is taking each of her experiences and pulling out the things that are relevant to this job description and making sure that it's highlighted in the resume. So she might have done a ton of other different things in each of these experiences, but I want to make sure that the bullet points are matching to what they're asking for in the job description. So other areas, right? Identify areas where C-suite sponsorship will enhance events in the New York office, monitor and evaluate event success, and make recommendations for future improvements. So she tracked KPIs. She worked on post-event metrics using Google Forms, post-event surveys, and data reports to evaluate the event's success against objectives, create financial report. She created financial reports and made recommendations for improvement on future events. So if she was to submit this resume to this job, I would be highly surprised if she did not get a call back for this job. I'd be like incredibly surprised, right? And it's because you can see like one-to-one, I've made sure that what they're asking for in the job description, what they're asking for in the job description is in her resume. And it's not just in her first experience, it's throughout the resume. It's even in the skills section. I can keep going through this or I can move forward if you all are interested, but essentially, yeah, event programming experience, right? She's coordinated artist networking events. And again, I want to go back to her old resume so you can see that like I didn't just make this up. Okay, this is her old resume. So she created strategic rollouts for artist album releases, going from 6. Okay, actually this one is a better one. So oversaw the scheduling of meetings, interviews, and shoots. Okay, you oversaw the scheduling of meetings, interviews, and shoots. So you coordinated the events that would lead up to the artist's single releases. All right, let's rework that. Let's turn that into you coordinating artist networking events, right? Like these are the events that you help the artists network their way and really put themselves out there ahead of their shoots, right? So including interviews or ahead of their album releases, including interviews and shoots, leading to successful premieres of Black Mercy on Black Mercy Records and Apple Music that yielded 1,000,000 downloads in the first hour. So again, thinking about the anatomy of a good bullet point, right? Your action verb, who you did it for, what you did, and what the result was. So yeah, that's kind of how you create a good bullet point. And I guess the most important thing here, again, y'all, is that the job description that you're going for is a cheat sheet. Just use the job description. I feel like I've said this a lot in just past conversations about this. And I think people don't actually understand how much of a cheat sheet the job description is. I know it can be like overwhelming and sometimes hard to read a job description if you're not used to it. And so, I think what I always recommend to people is just figure out the one title that makes sense for you, the one title that is closest to the experience that you already have, and that is like the next thing that you want to do, and just read like 10 job descriptions and kind of start highlighting and figuring out what exactly they're asking for, what is like most common, et cetera, and then kind of utilize that to tailor your resume. Are there questions I'm missing? Yes, recording will be available. Let me see. Okay, I have about 30 minutes left. Danielle's question. Who's Danielle and where's her question? I don't actually see Danielle's question. Does anyone use a one? Okay, that's not Danielle's question. I don't see Danielle's question actually, so. Okay, how do you recommend tailoring your resume if you were doing something completely different than the job you're applying for? Baggage handler at X airline to data analyst lead. Okay, tech company, would you say transferable skills become more challenging to match? Okay, do you data analyst lead? Dang, that's a big jump. You don't want to do like apprentice data analyst first, or like something like that, you know what I mean? That might be a big jump, right? That might not be the kind of next role for you. Sometimes you got to do like a coordinator, a data, you know, like a data analyst assistant or something, you know what I mean? But that's not to say that it's not possible. But what I would say is go on the airline's corporate website and look at the roles that are on there that are not you actually like, not like a blue collar role, right? Like what's a corporate role? What's like more of their corporate or their tech departments? Like what are the roles that are available there? Because you have that airline experience, you have that like domain knowledge and that industry experience. I would say like try to work at either like the airlines corporate, etc., or like any other company in the travel industry. So like a Hopper, an Expedia, what are the other ones? You know, all of these like other like what is it? Travago, all of these other ones. I'm blanking on the one that I wanted to actually say, but right, there's a Kayak. There's these like tech companies. Like I would say go on their website, like go on Kayak's website and look at their like what they're hiring for and see what skills, like look at each of the job descriptions, see what skills that they're asking for, and like, okay, what skills do I have as a baggage handler? Like, was it customer service? Like, was I like de-escalating a lot of issues when people lost their baggage? Like if I can, if I was doing that there, like how can I work at Kayak, because now I can say, hey, I have airline experience. I'm really passionate about the airline industry. I see what you all are doing to disrupt the airline industry. Like I really love this company. That's one. And two, I have the skill sets for the function of like customer success or customer service. And like I want to be able to bring the fact that I was working in a high pressure situation to this role. So it might be a little bit convoluted. You might like, again, like you might not be able to do it one-to-one, but you should be able to pull something that you've done, even in like a blue collar role or a role that's like very non-tech related, that you can then kind of really highlight and play up to transition into a role. But I'd like to hear more about like the data analyst lead. Like, did you take a boot camp? Like, what are you kind of doing to kind of learn data analysis skills? Okay, lots of things. Excuse me. Oh yeah, and this is not to say like you guys like if you're getting certifications or you're like doing a boot camp and things like that, like those are all those are all kind of like things that you can utilize to supplement what you're doing. I think this is really tailored to someone who's like, maybe I don't really want to go to boot camp. Like, I want to roll in tech, but like I'm trying to utilize the skills that I already have. List project. Okay, this is a good question. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, I'll answer this question and then I'll move forward. How should engineers list projects on their resume? So if you've gone to boot camp like Flatiron School or something like that, you'll notice that the way they format their resume is like projects first, and then yeah, just basically like projects first, because you don't have the like software engineer title. Guys, don't do it. Throw out that template. Like don't stop submitting that template, because the amount of times that recruiters see that template and are like, yeah, next, is because it screams junior. It screams like, I just graduated from boot camp and I've never coded in like a team oriented environment in my life. Like, it screams like these are literally just like calculator projects. Like, not to downplay any of the things that you've built in your boot camp, but like it just screams like I just graduated from boot camp. And like what we want to scream is like, I'm a software engineer. And so if you've just graduated from boot camp, yes, I'm aware that you're not going to have a lot of experience, but you can do other things. You can freelance, you can do hackathons, you can volunteer, right? Like even on here, like, oh, oops, sorry. I have her volunteer experience, but it says events volunteer. Like I would literally like volunteer for a company, put their company name, put software engineer, and put volunteer in parentheses. Like you still have the title, you've still done things, and I will optimize it for a software engineer resume. And then the other thing about listing your projects on your resume is that, again, you have to get through the recruiter first, and recruiters are not software engineers. Recruiters don't know how to read code, right? And so if you're relying on your projects to kind of get you to the next stage, you're going to have a very hard time getting to the next stage, because the recruiter doesn't know how to read code. They can't tell the difference between a good project and a bad project. The person who can tell the difference is the hiring manager, but you have to get to the hiring manager first. The recruiter is the one that's going to gatekeep you getting to the hiring manager. So again, this is what I was saying earlier about optimizing your resume for both the recruiter and the hiring manager. So again, I would do exactly what we're talking about, like optimize in this format, and just kind of find other ways to gain experience, volunteer, do hackathons. I love hackathons. We're actually going to be hosting a hackathon in Baddies in Tech early next year, by God's grace. Do hackathons. You can win money through hackathons. So it's like essentially the same as working. And like volunteer as well, and like gain that experience that you can put on your resume. And then and then have your portfolio, because the hiring manager will like it. I'm not saying to not do projects or to not like showcase your projects, because those things are good, but have them in a portfolio that then like your the hiring manager, once you get to that stage, can like see them, and you can have conversation on those things with them. Hope that made sense. Volunteer opportunities. Honestly, let's talk. Send me an email, Nakia. Okay, I'm gonna move on because there's a lot of questions and I want to make sure I get through the rest of these. So now that we've kind of like seen in action what a good resume looks like, how to actually tailor your resume, these are like the general guidelines to writing the bullet points for your resume, which again is the most important part. So again, begin each accomplishment statement with a powerful action verb. So implemented, coordinated, increased, led. Use quantifiable results. So numbers, percentages, metrics that really quantify the achievements that you got for your previous employer. So an example would be increase social media engagement by 40% in 6 months. Be very specific. So make sure you're clearly stating what you did, who you did it for, how you did it. So an example would be implemented a new marketing strategy targeting young professionals. And then the last one would be always relate your achievements to your employer's goals. So show how your work contributed to the overall goal and mission for your previous employer. And the reason why it's important to do this is that people are hiring you to get them results. People are hiring you so that you can bring some sort of value to their firm. You can drive forward their revenue or their mission or whatever the case may be, right? And so if you can showcase on your resume that you've done that consistently to other in another role, you're going to be way ahead of the curve versus, again, kind of just listing the duties, because nobody's hiring you to just do the duties. Like, people are hiring you to do the duties and get them results. So an example of that would be executed 3,000 personalized invites. This is from Faith's resume, right? That then ensured widespread event attendance. Okay, so I wanted to also show you guys that job title, the events lead specialist, that I used to tailor Faith's resume, is not a fluke. There's so many roles like this out there, right? So this is from Apple. The other one I'm going to show is also from Apple. So Apple Professional Learning Specialist. This role is for anyone who's a teacher, right? So you have proven experience as a teacher and a leader at the K-12 level. They said that they experience in instructional design and coaching in higher education or one-to-one learning. So maybe tutoring environment is a plus. You're familiar with New York State teaching technology and content standards. So again, if you've just been a teacher in New York, you can get this role. Let's see. Any other things? That's basically it, y'all. Like, they're not really asking you to know any types of different technologies, nothing like that. You know, you have excellent knowledge of apps to improve learning. So if you've utilized any apps, I mean, I think since the pandemic, anyone who's a teacher should have utilized some sort of applications, right? And then this is kind of what you would be doing in the role. So you'd be collaborating with curriculum leadership. So again, if I was tailoring somebody's resume for this role, I'm making sure I'm talking about how they collaborated with other teachers, the principal, the lunch lady. I'm talking about how they collaborated with everybody. And then look at the pay, y'all. Like, you're starting at $97K and then it goes up to $150,000. You don't have to go learn how to be a software engineer to transition into tech if you're a teacher. You could just do this. And then this is even outside of their employee. You're also eligible for their stocks, right? Apple stock and all of that. Generational wealth. Okay, so that's that role. This one's even crazier. This one is for someone who has like a PR background, PR marketing background. So if you have like a public relations degree, you've like worked in creative. Actually, Shara, when I was reading this role, I was thinking about you. So you have experience handling creative teams, design, video, photography, and writing. And you've had experience in the creative development process. And then you have strong verbal and written communication skills. And then, yeah, that's like, I mean, that's kind of all they're asking for, y'all, like strong communication skills, interpersonal skills. Look at the pay, $141,000 to start, up to $212,000. So there's so many roles out there like this. Like, I'm actually not even joking. Like, it's literally a bunch of soft skills, like Marcella says. So yeah, learning and development is so important. It's definitely a function in tech. So yeah, these roles exist, y'all. Just find the one that makes sense for your background and tailor your resume, learn how to interview really well. and you're also the racist. So that's exactly what I'm talking about next. Let me make sure I'm on time. So yeah, so essentially, if you want to do this, if this is sounds like something that you kind of want to do to transition into tech, then these are the steps that you'll want to take. So first of all, evaluate your skills. What soft and hard skills are in your background that you want to leverage for a career in tech? Explore tech roles, research the roles in tech that closely match your previous title or skills. Look on job boards of your favorite tech companies or tech companies that are in the industry or domain you already work in. So we talked about the airline industry. Look at tech companies that operate in the airline industry. Try to find roles, look at job descriptions. Once you find, look at like at least 10 job descriptions. Once you find a role that's like, like this kind of sounds like something I could do. Tailor your resume, like I already showed you how to do. Fill in your skills gap. So there will be maybe some like one or two skills or tools that like you weren't using. Don't like put that on your resume. And actually, I forgot to mention it, so I'll go back and I'll show you guys. But put that on your resume and then like utilize YouTube, take a free course online, read up on the actual documentation for the tool so that you are well versed in it, and then you can speak to it in the interview. If they ask you, say that you've read the documentation, so that you've taken a class on it, so that you've played around with it, etc. Let me go back because I want to show you what that looked like on her resume. So these three tools, triple seat, all seated, and splash. Actually, she said that she had used all seated, but triple seat and splash it actually didn't ask for it in this job description, but again, I utilized other job descriptions when I was completing her resume. Other job descriptions did ask for it as an event manager. And so I put it on here. And these are tools that like they utilize as event planners. Just because you don't have experience in that tool does not mean you should not put it on your resume. Put it on your resume and then go learn the tool. Watch a YouTube video, like read up on the documentation and learn the tool so that you can speak to it. And then again, don't lie when they ask you. Just say like, hey, I've read the documentation. It sounds like a really cool tool. Like I've done a course, like I understand how it works. I'm really excited to be able to use it on the job. Okay. Yes, the last thing is to interview well. Once you do all this, you get your foot in the door, you get past, like you get a call for an interview with the recruiter. You're gonna do the recruiter interview. You're gonna talk to the hiring managers. You're gonna probably talk to a panel of team members that you'll be working with. You need to learn how to interview well and have like a good career story, especially when you're transitioning. And so learning the STAR method is going to be really, really good for that. Actually, it's essential for that. So you'll want to learn the STAR method. And I don't have a lot of time to get into it. So, but essentially it's the method that you utilize to answer the tell me about a time questions, which every single interview is going to ask you. So definitely take the time to learn that. And then just having a career story is important, especially when you're transitioning, because people want to know why you're transitioning from baggage handler to XYZ at Kayak. And so having a story to fill in that gap so that they don't fill it in for you is really important. And I really preach that a lot. And then, yeah, if you do all of these things well, you will land your first tech role. So these are some tools that can help you in this job hunt that I think everyone should know of. ChatGPT, obviously, you can give it prompts that will allow you to, that'll give you a starting point. Don't ever like copy and paste from ChatGPT because it's still a robot. It's not going to make sense in context, but like it'll give you a good starting point. Skill Syncer is a really good one that I learned from my friend Yanni. It essentially allows you to feed in your resume and compare it to a job description and find the keywords that you're missing. So I think a lot of people are asking like, how do you know like which skills are transferable and things like that? So this will help with that. LinkedIn, most job descriptions are on there. Like literally almost every recruiter in the world uses LinkedIn. So like, yes, there's other job boards, but LinkedIn has most of the jobs. Um, just be careful. I know people have said that there's like scam jobs and things like that. So just be careful. Usually like I try to apply, like if I hit apply and it takes me to the actual company's website, like company's job board, then that's a good sign, right? And then yeah, as you're kind of doing this, make sure you're reading at least 10 job descriptions to learn what skills are required. So I mentioned my value drivers chart, which really identifies a range of tech industry functions, departments, and job titles to help you narrow down into the role that you might be interested in. My Glow Baddie resume templates and cover letter templates, you all have seen that, and you've seen how it really puts your achievements first. And then Teal HQ, you want to keep, as you're getting these interviews, like and you're applying for jobs, you really want to keep track of where you're at. So I usually just use like a Google Sheets, but Teal HQ has built like a whole kind of dashboard for you. So you can utilize that as well. All right, that's it. I got through it. We have about 7 minutes left. So thank you all so much for listening to me talk for about an hour. Yes, so first of all, good luck on your career transition, or if you're trying to get your next role, you have the skills, you just need the strategy and the audacity. So I'll be watching, I'll be here to help. If you want to get, if you want to get my resume template, this is the link to do that. It's going to include the resume template that I showed you. It's also going to include a template for cover letter. And then it's also going to include as a bonus my value drivers chart. And then for the last thing, if you all want to work with me one-to-one, I have career transition coaching that I'm doing, and I will essentially be helping you find the role that you that's going to be perfect for you to transition into. We're going to come up with a job search strategy. We're going to work on your interview prep. Share if you can drop it in the chat again for them. And I'm also going to actually do all of these things for you. So I'm going to tailor your resume. I'm going to get your cover letter together. I'm going to get your LinkedIn together. And I'm doing this very, very limited because I still have to run Baddies in Tech, the actual membership and community, as the CEO. And so my time is really limited. And so I'm only wanting to work with a couple people. And this is only going to be for right now, because after this, I'm probably going to make it a group program. And so I'd love to work with you all, some of you one-on-one, to really help you get that bag. You all saw the roles that are available. And again, it really just takes you finding the right one, tailoring your resume, learning how to interview, and applying. And I'll be here every step of the way with that. And so, yeah, so that's kind of that. Basically, if you get the coaching package by midnight tonight, you get $100 off. Otherwise, it's $8.99. There is, Shara, do you have the link for that? Awesome, Aubrey, yay. Shara, if you can drop the link for getting the career coaching, that'll be great. So basically, again, I only want to work with a select number of people, and I only want to work with a specific type of people. So you actually have to apply to work with me. Again, my time is really, really limited. I want to make sure that the people I'm working with, I'm going to get results for. And so like, I'm trying to guarantee a 100% success rate for everyone who works with me. And so what I'm doing is, if you grab the link and actually, let me see if I can find it. I don't know where my phone is, but I can also send it after this. When you get on the link, you'll have to like kind of put in your name, email, your LinkedIn, why you're kind of trying to transition, what your background is, your resume, so I can look at it, and you'll put in a deposit. So you'll put in a 50% deposit, and then I will look over all of these things that you submit. And if it's a good fit, we'll start working together. If not, I'm going to refund you. It's a refundable deposit. I'm going to refund you in full. But I'm also going to tell you what I think that you should do instead. Whether it's, go learn XYZ skill, or, whatever it is that your background kind of entails that I think you should do to get to the next step. Instead of working with me, because again, I only want to work with people I know I can get results for. And so, yeah, I'd love to work with some of you. Yeah, I'm excited. I think that there's so many people out there that could be in tech that are not in tech because they don't know how to kind of leverage their skills, and I know how to do that. And so I really want to help people do that. I really want to help people build generational wealth. I want to help them increase their salaries and just live a more flexible, happy life. Yeah, so okay. Link for one-on-one coaching. Give me 1 second. Where's my phone? My phone. Shara should, hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. One-on-one coaching. 1 second, y'all. And then I'm going to answer some of you all's questions. We still have 2 minutes, so I know there was like a couple other questions. So let me get the link for you all, and then I'll answer some more questions. Where is it? Hang on a second, y'all. Okay, here it is. More, publish, copy. All right, here you go. Okay, so this is the form to fill out to start working with me. And let me reshare my screen. We can talk about it some more. Oh. You guys see my resume? Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna get y'all right. I'm gonna get y'all right. Some of y'all deserve the money that's sitting there. Y'all have the experiences and the skills, and I'm gonna get y'all right. So I'm excited to definitely work with some of you. Click the link to fill out the form. And then again, it's foolproof. Like if it's not a good fit, I'm gonna refund you. I know exactly who I want to work with. And so yeah, if I choose you to work with you, best believe you're getting a job and you're getting a 6-figure role. And if not, again, like you're gonna get free advice, and I'm gonna put you in the right direction, because I never want to like take people's money that I know I can't get results for. Okay, and then yeah, are there any like other questions that maybe I missed? Like resume questions, etc. There's like a lot of other question. When you are highlighting verbiage on the JD, what key color coding did you use? Considering there are multiple colors used. Oh, okay. I didn't really use like any sort of methodology. It was more so like if I saw it on the resume, on the job description. Let me go back. If I saw it on the JD, then I was just kind of trying to show you all like where I was putting it in the resume. So like I saw it on the JD, I'm putting it in the resume. But I think if you all are doing this on your own, then like I would just go in and highlight the things that you're seeing most often, especially across multiple job descriptions, and then making sure that you're putting that in your resume. And then you can do this comparison side by side when you're done too, like, okay, how much of this do I have in my resume? Like you'll see like literally throughout the entire resume, I have what is in the job description. Okay, I'm gonna send out the recording first skill section for each sales tech. I wanted to know what to put in the first skill section. Okay, like the top right here. You again, like I can't tell you that without kind of looking at your background and looking at some job descriptions and things like that. So you again, I've kind of taught you how to do that yourself. And the template has guidance on that too. Like there's examples, but like I said, the first line is like the roles and the alternative titles. So like what are alternative titles to like tech sales roles, right? Or the tech sales role that you're going for. Second one is like the key skills that are valuable that every tech sales person should know. And then the third one is like pertinent achievements or accomplishments that you've done in that department, whether that was through a boot camp or whatever, or like sales in general if you've done sales elsewhere. Excuse me. You may have like studying abroad. Think about other, okay. All right. Well, I think that is everything. How was it, y'all? Did you enjoy it? Was it good? Awesome. I really hope this was helpful. Yes, I'm so glad. Oh, I love that. I'm really, really glad. The resume template's at the same place. It might change because I'm planning on also maybe putting this up on YouTube. So it may change. So I would get it as soon as possible. Like it might not include the same things too. Like I might take out the key drivers, the value drivers template in there and stuff like that. So it was a one-on-one just for today. Oh, if you purchase it today, it's $7.99. The deposit is going to remain the same regardless. But if you fill out the form, purchase it like tomorrow, it's going to be, it's again, there's only five slots. So get your thing in as soon as possible. But it should be up until the 5 slots are filled. So like think a week or so. Next week, I'll be reviewing people who submitted and paid their deposit and accepting people into the program. So once that is full, then it's going to be closed. So yeah, think about a week or so. It'll be up and available for you all to be a part of. But after tonight, it'll be $8.99. So if you do it tonight, you'll save $100. All right. Thank you all so much. This was so fun. I loved teaching you all. Again, I'm gonna send you all the replay, and then yeah, I'll email you any other like resources, links. I'll send the link for the resume bundle if you all don't get it tonight. If you are wanting to work with me one-on-one, definitely get it tonight so that you can save $100. And yeah, I hope to see you at the next thing that I do or at a Baddies in Tech event. All right, y'all. And make sure you're dropping like your LinkedIn so you can connect with each other and all of that. And yes, good luck everyone in getting to the bag. Y'all deserve it. Y'all deserve it. We deserve to be in tech. We deserve this money that's out there. Like our families, our community, like we need to build each other up. We need to make more money. Like we need to make more money, period. So all right. And thank you so much, Shara, for helping out. Thank you, everyone. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.